What's going on, Aquarius? And it's your girl, Conscious Queen, and we're going over this full moon in Sag, which we are still in the energy of the full moon. The moon is still in Sag, which is currently in a square to Neptune in Pisces and Saturn in Pisces, which for you, Aquarius, is your second house. So, this full moon is in your 11th house, and it's in a trine to your 7th house and your 3rd house. So, you and your spouse could be connecting with siblings. You all could be traveling. There could also be something that comes up about your friends or your friends' siblings or your neighbors. There could also be something that comes up about your friends online or your siblings online. The 3rd house is also your neighbors, your community. So there could be something illuminated about your neighborhood. Pluto in your 1st house is in a square to Mercury in your 4th house. Okay. So Mercury in your 4th house could be connected to your 2nd house things such as food, or things that you may need for your house. Okay. Pluto in your 1st house is trine to the sun in your 5th house. So something could come up about children or a pregnancy. The 5th house is also a house of entertainment or entertainers, games, joy, fun, sex, dating, playfulness as well. The 3rd house is also connected to people from your past, your means of traveling. So you could be traveling in your community or traveling with siblings or, people in your neighborhood. But this 3rd house is trine to your 7th house. So you and your spouse could be popping out. You could be doing some local traveling, visiting siblings and things like that, or your spouse or your loved one could be doing that. Okay. So the sun in your 5th house is going to square Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces in your 2nd house. So the full moon in your 11th house is also square the 2nd house. So there's basically a conflict with finances. There's a conflict with children. How you doing? All right. So it could be a conflict with 2nd house things when it comes down to children. Clothes, shoes, jewelry. The 5th house is the house of like having fun, joy, play. If you want to put yourself out there as an entertainer, you need those 2nd house things, such as, things that make you look good. Okay, so the 2nd house is definitely a part of your image. And you have a lot of 4th house energy because you have Uranus, Jupiter in your 4th house. Jupiter is also entering your 5th house as well. So, you could definitely be a major star. Jupiter and Gemini in the 5th house, you could be collaborating with a lot of new people, a lot of other people. You could bring up like stuff from the past, or communicate things from the past. Could be like previous actors and entertainers and things like that. You could be doing something online or spending time with a parent. Okay, because your 10th house, Aqua, is, your 10th house is Scorpio. So, but yeah, you're popping out online with your spouse. You're traveling with your spouse. This is definitely a time, because your 5th house is activated. This is definitely a time of happiness, joy, love. Relationships, dating, sex. It's a very playful energy, a very happy energy, energy of joy. And your children is going to be highlighted for you with the sun in the 5th house. There could also be a pregnancy that comes out, or your siblings could be pregnant, or something like that. Okay. So we got the 12th house Capricorn. What you got? Pisces, your 2nd house. So your 2nd house is connected to your 12th house. And the 12th house could be connected to older people or a business or the government, okay, with the 12th house Capricorn. The 12th house is also connected to loss. So there could be some things that you have lost, that you have lost out on, okay? But Mercury is now in your 3rd house, which is connected to your 5th house. So this is, no. Why does it say Mercury has entered your 3rd house? Mercury has entered your 4th house. But this full moon in your 11th house is in a trine to Mars and Aries in your 3rd house. So this is definitely a sexual energy, a spontaneous energy. Mars and Aries in the 3rd house could be communication about like a fight in a community, okay? But Mercury has entered your 4th house, which we talked about that 2nd house things, right? And your 2nd house is in the 6th house to your 12th house and your 4th house. So Uranus in your 4th house is in the 6th house to Neptune in your 2nd house. So changes in your home, changes in your family, okay? Something unexpected happens in your home or in your family. You could be making some kind of sacrifice when it comes down to money. Maybe you have to buy food for your home, or maybe you bought new home decor and you wasn't able to pay a bill or something. Maybe the cable got cut off because you bought some home decor instead, something like that. But I mean, you could be spending 2nd house things on, you could be spending money on things connected to your home, okay? Whether it's new floors or new curtains or something like that, okay? But yeah, you have Mercury in your 4th house. Mercury and Taurus in the 4th house. Brings a lot of energy in the home. The sun is in the 5th house is definitely pregnancy. It's definitely entertaining. It's definitely fun, play, laughter, joking, okay, children. So you could be spending time at home with children, okay. Your children could be announcing a pregnancy, all right. Because there is a 6th house to the 3rd house. So yeah, your 5th house is 6th house to your 3rd house. So the 5th house is definitely a house of like joking. So some people could be like joking with your child, or your children could be really playful. Okay, be mindful of your children fighting in the neighborhood or in the community. Okay. With Mars in the 3rd house, be mindful of speeding, okay? Or like being in a rush to get somewhere as well. Okay. But you could be traveling with children as well. So with Mars in the 3rd house and the 6th house to the sun in the 5th house, this is a very sexual energy. Some people could be trying to conceive at this time. There could be something from the past or people from your childhood, like something about their children as well. But with Pluto in your 1st house and the trine to your 5th house and your 9th house, you could be traveling long distance. You could get into a romantic connection with someone through traveling. The 9th house is also a spiritual house. So, you could be connected to someone spiritually as well. But overall, like you and your, because the 9th house is long distance traveling, okay? So for romance, you could be traveling. Or like I said, you could have met or started a romantic connection while traveling. Some people could be finding out they're pregnant, or some Aquarius could, or maybe they could find out their children is pregnant or something. Um, but you could be doing something creative as an entertainer as well. But like I said, this is a very sexy, flirty energy. A really sexy, playful, romantic kind of energy, okay? So that is what I have for you, Aquarius, and I will see you all in my next video. And I thank you for watching my video to the end. If you like my videos, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because I will be posting another video about Jupiter and Gemini, which is going to enter your 5th house. So yeah, you might be definitely having children in the future or trying to, okay? But this is all that I have for you today, Aquarius, and I will see you in my next video. Peace. Hi Capricorn, it's your conscious queen, and we're getting into this full moon and Sagittarius energy. And for you, Capricorn, this energy is in your 12th house. And it's also in a trine to your 8th house and your 4th house. I also want to note that you have the North Node in Aries in your 4th house. Is it, where did it go? Okay, went that way. You also have Chiron in Aries in 4th house. Mars is in your 4th house as well. So this full moon in the 12th house is in a trine to Mars in the 4th house. So this could be very argumentative. This can be an energy of abuse as well. You got Mercury in your 5th house, which is in connection to the sun in your 6th house. So something about work, there could be something about work and pregnancy, or something about work and children. I know it's the summertime right now, and you know, with the kids being at home, they could possibly have been affecting work, okay, with Mercury in the 5th house. So let's see. So at this time, with the full moon in the 12th house, you could be getting some sleep, okay? So it's something about home, rest, getting some sleep. With this 12th house trying the 8th house, this is also like a sexual energy. The 12th house is also like bedroom pleasures. The 12th house is also a house of loss. So, you know, there could be some loss that's being experienced in the family or with the mother with this trine to the 4th house, okay? The 12th house is also very spiritual. So you could be spending more time in prayer as well. The 12th house trine to the 8th house is also connected to a death. And with the 12th house being in a trine to the 8th house, it almost feels like a thin line between the spiritual world and the physical world. Your 12th house is also connected to your 3rd house. So you could be connecting with siblings. You could be locally traveling, spending time on social media, hanging out with neighbors, or there could be something that's going on in your community. The sun just entered your 6th house, and we're trying to Pluto in Aquarius in your 2nd house. So you're focusing on work and your money. The ruler of your 6th house is Mercury, which is currently in the 5th house. So Mercury in your 5th house is connected to your children. It's also connected to food, clothes, and other 2nd house things when it comes down to your children. You could be buying things for your children. The 5th house is also connected to joy, play, jokes, fun, games, etc. A really playful energy. It's also an energy of dating, sex, and pregnancy, as well as entertainment. So the sun entering the 6th house could bring up something regarding work. You're in your bag, you're focused on your goals, okay? The sun in your 6th house is in a trine to your 10th house. So you could be doing something for work that's posted online. Also, with Mercury ruling your 6th house and your 3rd house being activated, there could be some gossip. Possibly even in a workhouse, or you could be traveling, going to the doctor, okay, or communicating about your health. Also, with this 3rd house being connected to the 12th house and the 12th house trying the 8th house, there could be some communication about a death in the community or in the neighborhood, okay. The sun in the sixth house is going to square Saturn in the third house, as well as Neptune in the third house. So there may be some communication issues when it comes to work or travel issues, or some kind of conflict with siblings or in your community. Saturn in Pisces is also connected to being under the influence, okay? Poetry, music, escapism, and sleep. So there may be a need to get more sleep and rest as well. This 12th house in connection to the third house is also very spiritual, okay? The 12th house, like I said, is a house of prayer. So there could be, you know, spiritual things posted online or posted in a community, okay? The sun in Gemini in the sixth house is also going to bring out your enemies, okay? Because the sun in the sixth house is the house of open enemies. So you're probably going to be seeing more of that. You're also going to be focusing on your health as well. So yeah, you could be going to have been visiting the doctor, or you might have a doctor's appointment, or you know, that's something that came up for you during this full moon is, you know, going to the doctor. Okay. You could be, like I said, spending more time in prayer, okay, or getting more rest, catching up on some sleep. All right. So once Jupiter and Gemini enters your sixth house, this is going to be your health. This is going to be work and things like that. So you could be working a lot, or working with a lot of people, you know, communicating at work. There could be gossip at work. Be mindful of arguments at work or with co-workers and conflict as well. And Jupiter and Gemini in the sixth house, you could be a writer or something that you do that's spoken for work, okay? Like if you are, you do podcasting, if you have books, you know, could be book signing or talking about your book, or promoting your business and things like that. Your sixth house is connected to your third house as well. So things that you post on social media for work, okay? So yeah, we're going to go over this Jupiter and Gemini in the sixth house. So this energy is going to come up again. This is a very karmic energy as well. So with the sun being in the sixth house, let's, you know, be mindful of our karma. And yeah, that's what I have for you, Capricorn. Thank you for watching my video to the end. And be sure to subscribe if you like my videos, and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when I post. All right then. Peace. Hi Scorpio, it's your girl Conscious Queen, and we're going over the energy from this Sagittarius full moon, which we are still in at the moment. The moon is still in Sagittarius, and it is in a square to Saturn in Pisces at this time, and it's also in a square to Neptune in Pisces. So first of all, I want to say that Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, it could be connected to somebody older, or it could be something from a course over a long period of time. Saturn and Neptune in Pisces could be connected to music, the fantasy world, also sleep in your dreams as well, and also illusions, okay? Because, you know, Pisces energy can give you a mystical kind of energy. It can also give you an energy of mysticism as well, okay? So you could be connected to a Pisces or somebody that's really mystical, all right? So this square with this full moon in your second house is in a square to Saturn and Neptune in your fifth house. So there's some conflict when it comes down to your joy, your creativity, things you do for fun, for play, or things that brings you joy. You know, you could be financially in a pinch when it comes down to you know, second house things in connection to your children. The fifth house is also the house of like entertainers and entertainment. So, you know, your second house has a lot to do with your image. And because the things that you buy is the things that make up your image. So it's definitely connected to the fifth house, which is, you know, putting yourself out there, performing, and things of that nature. Now you have the sun in Gemini in your eighth house. So this could definitely be some secrets. Even about people from your past or your siblings. The sun in the eighth house is also connected to other people's money. So there could be a business or something that you do that brings in income or resources from other people. Now the eighth house could very well be anxiety or a trigger. The eighth house is also a crisis. So also having the sun and Gemini in the eighth house, this is definitely anxiety. I mean, there also could be secrets about a lover as well, with the sun and Gemini in the eighth house. There could also be something secretive in connection to, sorry, something was on my lip, in connection to your siblings. Gemini in the eighth house is Mercury. So there could be something about, that's why I don't like to be outside, but it's nice out here, the lighting is better, so I'm like, hey, why not? But secret communication, there could be communication about a death, could be the death of a sibling as well. All right. Now you currently have Mercury in the seventh house, Mercury and Taurus in the seventh house. So there could be some communication about marriage or money or financing in a marriage. There could be newlyweds or someone proposing as well. Or there could be talks of marriage. You know, how do you see marriage? Get the hell out of my video. So yeah, with Mercury in the seventh house and you have the sun and Gemini in the eighth house, your siblings or spouse could be getting married, or there could be some talks amongst your siblings and spouse about your marriage. There could be some investigating into a spouse's finances as well. Okay. There could be some investigation about siblings as well. Okay. People could also be wanting to know secrets about your past. With the sun and Gemini in the eighth house, you could be having a lot of people that's just looking into your business, into your resources and things like that. You could have had a lot of people that was trying to manifest your finances or things of value, because the full moon is in your second house, okay, which is connected to the things you have, your car, your clothes, jewelry, you know, things that you have of value, okay. So as I said, we talked about the full moon in the second house and the Aquarius in your fifth house, okay, which is connected to the music industries, connected to your children, gambling and things like that. Now the eighth house is also a house of envy, jealousy. It's a house of manipulation, control, okay. It's a very traumatic house, but it is also a house of codependency as well, okay. So someone could be watching people's money and material possessions and things like that. People could also be reading things that you wrote or that you talked about. Someone could be investigating some messages. I did write there could be some investigation into a death or a crisis, or there could be like secret messages, secret communication. Okay, and with the sun being here, the sun could very well bring those secrets to the light. Okay, Gemini in the 8th house is also a writer. Okay, a writer or a poet. Okay, now the sun in the 8th house could bring up something about a father. Okay, it could bring up the death of a father as well. The sun in the 8th house is very karmic as well. If there's any like kind of inheritance from a death, or some people could be planning wills, some people could be it could be something about life insurance as well. Now the 8th house is connected to the afterlife and the underworld. Okay, so the sun in Gemini could definitely bring up your mental health as well as psychic abilities and the abilities to connect to the other realms. So, you could be connecting to the underworld. You could be connecting to the dead. Or you could have thoughts or taboo topics or something like that when it comes down to the dead. Okay. The sun in Gemini in the 8th house is sexual. Okay. Let's see. This is also a house of obsession, fear and obsession. Okay. So yeah, with the full moon in the 2nd house, this is about your money and 2nd house things. So with the sun in Gemini in the 8th house, you could be seeking support from other people, and I feel like that will primarily be the heightened energy, but also something about a father. Okay. This sun in Gemini is in a trine to your 12th house and your not 5th house, 4th house. So with the trine to your 12th house and your 4th house, the 12th house is a sense of loss. So there's a focus on your home. Okay, you could be doing things from home that brings in resources or income from other people. All right. There can be some gossip or investigation about a home. There could be a crisis connected to a home or with your mother. Okay, the 12th house and the trine to the 8th house. Something about hospitals, prisons, churches, yeah, something like that. There could be an investigation. There could be something about a death in a hospital or a death in a prison or something like that. Or there could be people in prison that's seeking support from other people that's trying to manifest income from other people. I know I've been having people sending me friend requests on Facebook that's in prison and asking for money, so I'm just saying. But the sun in Gemini is very mercurial. It's a writer. Okay. There could also be something about smoking. Okay. You could be missing something out of a home with a 12th house trying the 8th house and 4th house. Or there could be some secrets or an investigation about a home, or there could have been some kind of crisis within a home. Or there could be some codependency when it comes down to a home. So yeah, this sun in Gemini in the 8th house is also going to square to Saturn and Pisces in the 5th house. So stress and anxiety when it comes to children or pregnancy. Your siblings could be codependent. Okay, or there could be some jealousy or anger or something like that, or something triggering when it comes down to your sibling spouse or something like that. And it might be a conflict with you all children, your nieces, your nephews, your family, and things like that. So you could also receive gifts from other people, you know, with the full moon, the second house, and the sun and Gemini in the 8th house. Clothes, shoes, purses, cars, jewelry, etc. This is an energy of gifts. But overall, the sun in Gemini is a very sexual energy. So, you know, there could be a lot of good love making, or there could be a desire for sex, or there could be something secretive about sex, especially like when it comes down to jail or hospitals or something like that. You know, so somebody can be in isolation, but they ain't as isolated as people might think. Okay, but that is what I have for you, Scorpio. And we will go over this Jupiter in Gemini that is going to enter your 8th house. And Jupiter in Gemini in the 8th house is very karmic. It could be something spiritual connected to a death, okay, or some dark manifestations, some dark secrets, okay. It's going to be very karmic when Jupiter goes through this 8th house. The 8th house is also a house of like STDs and sexual infections, or there could be something that comes up about one's sexual health as well. All right. So anyway, I thank you for watching my video to the end, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for the next video, which I will be posting about Jupiter and Gemini. All right. Peace.